through, off the window, good.
Stepping through the raindrops and the finish on the right hand.
And then it's going to Bournemouth wide with back-to-back threes. The Bournemouth, a WNBL chance.
Race. They might be out of finals contention, but they can shift the goalposts. They can aim to be the best of the rest teams in the competition. You can really treat games like this as being their playoffs and must-win clashes.
Well, Jade Melbourne lit it up last time these two teams played, Mark. She had 21 points, 5 rebounds and 11 assists. She's taken her game to the next level this season, really, it must be said. She's stepped up with her leadership, her stats, and you can see she's always got a smile on her face, and that high bun is what's been probably the catalyst of her good form. Could she have a similar performance tonight, do you think?
Absolutely. Anytime she takes the court, I mean, she's shown that she's that type of a caliber player in the upper echelon within the competition. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Her leadership, that's elevated to another level for me. The maturity and the growth as the emotional leader or driver of energy within that Caps lineup, you know, without being emotional, has been most exemplary. She plays to win and she sets an example for others to follow.
She certainly does, and she's having a great season in Capitals colours, really relishing that role that she's got and dominating that overtime game. Really brought her team up for the win. So we'll look to see what she's got in store for us tonight and whether she goes high or low bun. That seems to be the topic of discussion in recent weeks. But you mentioned off the top, Mark, it is 7th versus 8th tonight. So both teams are playing for pride, but also the series is tied at 1-1. So they'll be hoping to get a series win tonight, whichever team wins. But looking at the top of the ladder, a lot can change in a week. Townsville Fire sitting on top of the table. Southside Melbourne and Bendigo. Towns will play Bendigo up next. So there's so much to play out. Perth still in the mix. It's a really exciting season of WNBL hoops.
It really is, and we often use the cliche in coaching that the season is a marathon and not a sprint, but this is the sprint portion that we're about to come to. So we've got an exciting couple of games that are really going to change the course of, you know, where the ladder falls for a lot of these teams.
Exactly right. It's going to be an exciting run home for a lot of teams. But tonight we're focusing on the Caps and the Lightning. And if we take a look at the Capitals starting five, we can see Shanice Swain is back. Alex Bunton will come off the bench. Jade Melbourne in the starting lineup as well. Pizzy, Burrell and Munger. So Swain is back, like I mentioned, Mark, and Bunton as well. Both haven't played since January. What does their injection do for the Caps lineup tonight?
Well, Swain's been one of their best players across the course of the season. So she gives you 14 points, 3.5 rebounds and 2 assists. She's had quite a stellar season, you know, stepping in and playing both a point guard and shooting guard role for them. But I think the injection of Alex Bunton is going to be huge as well. So we're talking about an athlete that has been an Australian Opal. She's a physical presence, but just brings that heady experience that, you know, a grown-up of her stature can be around this type of inexperienced lineup and be a bit of a pillar of, you know, what you want the Capitals to be moving forward.
And for Adelaide, the injury news is a bit mixed. The Bolas will miss again this game, but Chelsea Brook has made her way into the lineup after missing Thursday night's game. She's still in the t-shirt, but she's listed on the bench, so we'll see how we go there. But in terms of the starters, it'll be Talbot, Cabillo, Munro, Whittle and Mansfield. So Cabillo taking the spot of Bolas tonight. Mark, what do you think of that move?
Well, she's going to bring a whole lot of energy. So she's had, you know, a really thriving end to, or this back end to the WNBL season. She comes in off the bench. She brings you energy in the pace of play. You know, Adelaide is by points per game, the best fast break team in the league, and she gives you that injection of pace off the bench that drives them deep into quarters.
And of course, it is Indigenous Day, and we must take a moment to look at these marvellous uniforms. Of course, Adelaide's, theirs is designed by Paul and Hunter Vandenberg, and it's called Gubadu, meaning lightning in Wurrungal language. The symbols such as the tinju, the tracks and the shapes represent the past elders, life-giving the Kaurna people, the land the club trains on and plays on, the current players, coaches and staff, and the fans, members and supporters. The Caps, you can see they've been wearing their Indigenous uniform for the entirety of the season, which is massive ups to them. The design featured is a collaboration between the University of Canberra, the Gullimba people, the Ngunnawal elders and artists, and each element within the design tells an important part of the University of Canberra story that celebrates diversity and inclusive relationships. So amazing designs on court, and it's great to see both teams have engaged local artists to help out with the designs too. As the tip at Canberra begins, and Jade Melbourne will win out to start. You can see the refs on the side of your screen there. Jack Taylor, Michelle Cozier and Robert Rice have a tough task on their hands as always. Good to see Shanice Swain back out there. She's getting the ball early. Can't get her first bucket. Gets her own rebound. The bench is up with that one. And Munga puts it down. Good start for the Caps.
Huge start. Multiple effort plays from Shanice Swain. Gets it to Munga to knock down that open three.
Cabillo now starting tonight for Adelaide. And Whittle looping it in. It comes back out to Mansfield. She can't get the immediate response. Munro's there. She's in the corner. Whittle thought about it, then drove hard to the basket and banked it in. Whittle gets the first points for Adelaide. Picking up where she left off on Thursday night, a career high 23 points against Perth, but her team couldn't get the job done. So Canberra now in the hands of Melbourne. She's gone the low bun tonight, driving it in. But there was a whistle blown. So Adelaide will get the ball back from the sideline. Jane Melbourne's had a fantastic season. We know what potential she has. Great to see a good crowd in here at the National Convention Centre for a WNBL's Indigenous round. That's a great pass from Cabillo to Whittle and the M1. They're working in tandem early, Mark.
Absolutely, and Whittle showing that she's got the propensity to get to the rim with stuff too. She's such a great three-point shooter. We saw her take a player off the bounce early in the possession, but then being able to leak out close to the basket, you know, where good things happen if you hang around there. Adelaide's a top 4 team in points in the paint, so they've started hot early.
Whittle makes the M1. So all the scoring for Adelaide has been from the hands of Marina Whittle. Munga inbounds to Melbourne. Lightning leading by 2 early doors. Swain into Bunton, back on the floor for the first time since January. Burrell just momentarily loses it. Bunton providing a screen for Burrell to go. Bunton gets the rebound and gets on the board with the foul to come. Great to have Alex Bunton back.
It really is, and that's what she brings you. She's a great screener. She's a big body, so she's able to take up a whole lot of space on the floor. She does a great job of having her stance out wide, so she sets a pick and makes it really tough for people to get over the top of it, forces a switch, and then she's able to clean up the O-glass there with her length.
And Bunton converts the three-point play. It's a tight contest early doors. We'd expect nothing less. These two teams went to overtime last time they played a couple of weeks ago. Whittle this time playing an assist role and getting it to Munro.
Canberra in a 2-2-1 press after the set of free throws there. Well scouted by Adelaide to have a press break scheme ready to go.
Swain looking to get on the board early. Instead, Whittle collects the rebound and gives it off to Mansfield. Mansfield driving in now. Can't bake that one in. Munga as tough as ever on the boards. A foul was called. Canberra will take it.
And that's a really good action to run for Lauren Mansfield. They call it a drag screen, so she'll bring the ball down in transition. If she can't make a play with what's ahead of her, they'll set a screen and then allow her to be able to attack all the space in the key.
So Munga. Swain. Can't get around Mansfield, so it gives it back out to Burrell. And Cabillo off and running. She's everywhere. Abby Cabillo always in players' faces. Munro That's a nice jumper there.
And a really good job from Abby Cubillo. One of the growth curves that she's been on this season is her ability to play at 2 speeds.
And that's a good speed there from Alex Bunton and the Caps. Bunton doing some good things early doors. But this time another foul called. Adelaide will get the ball back.
It's a great example there with Abby Cubillo. So she takes her first 2 dribbles at a jogging tempo, and then after the change of direction, uses that as her cue to accelerate, draws a foul there from Burrell.
So Cubillo now gets the ball back from Whittle. And then Whittle launches from 3 and gets it to go.
And she's got to continue to hunt that 3-point shot. So as soon as teams give it to her, take it each time.
Adelaide strong on the boards once again. And Whittle, I think, grabbed it twice. So Canberra ball. Score 12-8 early doors.
Bit of indecision on that possession. I think she probably should have kept going off the dribble. There wasn't anybody from Canberra that had picked up the ball then.
So Canberra's pressure influencing Adelaide there, but the Lightning still have the lead. Britt Smart on the floor. Mugger. Burrell. Dribbling around Talbot and shooting over the top of her. Just can't get it to go. Bunton there again, but can't put it through. Mansfield off and running. Guarded by Smart. Kicks it out to Whittle. And now Cubillo. Just waiting for an option. Finds Whittle. Mansfield's open on the corner. She loves this spot. Just can't get it to go. Melbourne, quick transition. But Talbot read it best.
They're just dialing back, being able to get someone the size and with the offensive rebounding capability of Alex Bunton, that slows Adelaide's opportunity to get an easy rebound outlet and then fly down the floor, which is how they want to play. You know, where you've got a contest on the offensive boards, it forces everything to be a full second or 2 slower.
Melbourne double teamed quite aggressively there. Burrell gets the rebound and puts it in under pressure.
You just love the energy and the competitiveness that the Caps continue to play with. Their hustle for possession, their defensive pressure, they've done a fantastic job with that in the back end of this season, you know, even being out of finals contention. They've continued to get better.
So Talbot turns it over there. Very unlike her. Haven't called her name much to start off this game. No points on the board for her as of yet. We're just about to get into the halfway mark of the first term. But Canberra looking to capitalise. Smart. Bunton. And now Melbourne. Just dumps it back into Bunton. That's beautiful work from the Caps. Once again.
An outstanding, I mean, I mentioned earlier, the screening ability by Alex Bunton creates a time and space advantage for Melbourne to be able to drag the ball and then make the play that she sees. So that might be to score, or if that's taken away, the next look is to go down towards the basket to Bunton as the roller in that position, and she's able to put the basket away.
Bunton gets yet another 3-point play. She started this game on fire, Alex Bunton, having a really great impact off the bench.
Do you reckon she's missed it?
Oh, she looks like she hasn't missed a beat, but she's certainly playing with some real tenacity to start off this one. Melbourne. Into Mugger. Oh, that is big from the Mugger.
And comes from the gravity that Jade Melbourne has. Off the bounce, electric with her pace, and it just forces you to have to commit to either her or stay attached to the player in the corner.
Melbourne flying down the floor. But it'll be an Adelaide ball. Too fast for her own feet there.
She's just so quick, and it puts you in 2 minds as a defender. Do you leave Munger in the corner to come and blow up a potential layup, or do you stay attached to Munger because she can shoot the 3 and it's shown that all season, but then you're at risk of, you know, Melbourne winning the race to the basket and getting an easy 2. It's very hard to defend.
Absolutely. Cubillo dumping it into Mansfield. Adelaide just looking a bit stagnant for the time being, but Munro finds herself free and pops it up from her signature spot this time. Can't get it to go. And Melbourne this time wants to slow things down. Munga just ducks under Whittle and gets her own rebound and pops it in. Nicole Munga up to 8 points for the ball game already. Timeout called. Caps leading 16-12. It's been a good performance so far from the UC Capitals. This timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. Are you considering travelling interstate with your basketball team? Consider CTM Sport for a competitive, innovative and customised travel solution that puts your team on top. Visit ctmsport.com.au to learn more. So far, Alex Bunton's back, well and truly. 5 points to her to start off this game, and Nicole Munga with 8. So how did Adelaide go about stopping those two players?
Well, there's a couple of things. So the Caps are trying to play at a tempo, and they're doing a fantastic job of then spacing the floor, but then attacking and then re-spacing again. So they stretch you out, and that's why the paint looks like there's so much room for people to be able to drive in, or any pick and roll action with Alex Bunton. You're going to get an open driver or open roller. They've probably got to pick who they want to sag off of, try to shrink some of that space around the keyway, force somebody else to beat them, or the Capitals, for instance, shoot the least amount of threes and at the lowest percentage in the league, force them to have to do a plan B or C potentially for them. Right now it's plan A all the way, and it's an 18-12 scoreline as a result.
So Caps doing good things early doors. How great are these uniforms, Mark? I just can't get my eyes off them. They look fantastic. Adelaide's look amazing. Canberra have worn the uniform all season. It's really great to see.
Absolutely, and such a treat to be able to look around the league and see all of the different Aboriginal or Indigenous artworks, on each of the jerseys. I love seeing that stuff in the team colours as well. It's always some fantastic artwork that people produce.
So Mansfield now trying to get Adelaide the ascendancy. Sam Simons on the floor out of that timeout, and Munro pops another basket in. A good result for Nat Hurst off the back of that timeout. Her team seeming to execute what she wanted.
Yeah, and got the ball to Munro, who's shown the ability to shoot from that mid-range quite comfortably. I think a lot of teams tested her early, and she's shown she's capable.
Shanice Swain, welcome back to the Cygnett WNBL, getting on the board for the first time tonight in Indigenous round. How special is that? Canberra will get the ball back on that occasion, I think, but Shanice Swain, how good is it to see her back, Mark?
It's tremendous, and having the ability to play her and Melbourne together with the pace that they can play at, it's a handful for teams to have to deal with in being able to keep up with them, keep up with their change of pace within the half court. You've got your work cut out for you, when you're guarding either of them. It makes it a challenge to try to keep both of those two out of the paint off the dribble.
So a quick sub there for Adelaide. Chelsea Brooke comes onto the floor for Munro, who's got 2 fouls to her name, so she's got to watch out. Smart to Melbourne. Oh, spinning around Cabillo, loses it momentarily. Goes in again. Oh, Jade Melbourne, she just keeps surprising us, or not really surprising, but just keeps pulling stuff out of her trick bag.
She's relentless, and Adelaide, responding to by doing a better job at shrinking space around the driver, and then just came a little bit apart on that third dribble drive attack on that last play.
And Cabillo just gets it off Melbourne's leg there.
They've been really disruptive, the UC Caps, with their ball pressure. I think they're in the top half of the league for blocks and steals. With that comes a little bit of fouling, so they can be foul prone, but you pick your poison. You ask the group to be a whole lot more disruptive to try and take away some of the time and space that good teams and good players have, and that's been mostly fruitful for them. They've been able to hang in games based on their defense.
Chelsea Brooke can't land the long three, but Mansfield's with it now. We know how capable she is in this position. Just loses it this time, but fouled on the approach. So a baseline ball for the Lightning. Looks like Brooke Basham will enter the game. And Shanice Swain's going to come off for the Caps. Sharika Leah onto the floor, along with Tuliak. It's been great to see the Caps young guns get some valuable minutes throughout the season.
Yeah, and it's something that you can salvage. So this is what I talk about, running your own race. You're able to play everybody and develop them.
And that's Exhibit A right there. Kaleo with the steal and then Melbourne with the bucket. There's a really bright future for this team.
There really is, and I love the way that they've embraced playing together. They've stuck together through a bit of adversity. You know, when you talk about everybody's a competitor, so sometimes it can be deflating when you're not winning the games that you feel like you might have a chance to. You're starting the journey with so many young, inexperienced athletes, but you've got to meet them where they're at and take them on a growth curve, and they've really grown over the course of the season.
We've got great young guns all over the league. Adelaide's got a few beauties as well. Sam Simon's on the floor. Abby Kibilo starting tonight. Of course, bola is out, but she's been lining it up this season. So too is Talbot. Just couldn't dribble that one in. So Smart can take it and run. Kalea gets it back out to Smart, but just can't land the three. Mansfield now. Just over a minute and a half left to play in this exciting opening quarter. Simons can't get a three to land there. So interesting, a few pull-ups from long range. Melbourne goes inside and then back out to Burrell. He's dribbling around Talbot. Good defense by Steph Talbot there. Shot clock ticks down to 7. Burrell from the corner. Smart this time. Oh, the Caps just firing at all cylinders at the moment.
And it's just work rate stuff. It's massive. Britt Smart, underrated as an offensive rebounder. I've had the privilege of working with her in a past life with the Melbourne Boomers. A great crasher of the O glass from the guard position.
Simons into Brooke. Couldn't finish that one off, and Melbourne off and running again for Canberra. Smart from the corner. Couldn't quite light it up. But you sense it's coming.
You really do, and she's got the ability to hit a couple in a row. She
Talbot
stays a threat.
Also has that ability and got fouled on the approach. So some crucial free throws here for Adelaide. They haven't quite had the run they would have liked in this opening term. Coming off, this will disrupt a 9-0 run if Talbot was to get these free throws. And you can see Smart there capitalising on that work rate you talked about, Mark. Just getting in and under the bucket, that hard-fought offensive rebound and basket.
Well, I mean, I've seen her do that multiple times in her career in different situations. When the team really needs it, she'll come up with either a big possession or that alley-oop putback that you saw there. I mean, that's within her game. That's part of her skill package. She'll often get elevated and tip the ball in, while she's still in the air.
So Talbot missing both free throws there. So not a lot going right for Adelaide at the moment, unfortunately. But Canberra going to work again on the offensive end. Adelaide ball.
Just need to stabilise and get a good offense here for using that whole duration of the 16 seconds. End it with the possession down at your end if you're Adelaide.
So the time ticking down to 10 seconds now in the first term. Can Adelaide salvage something? The Caps have been quite strong on their home floor. Talbot can't quite set up a big finish. But the Caps will be sprinting into their huddle, very happy with that first term. They lead Adelaide 27-14. That was an amazing first term by the Capitals, Mark. What did you think of it?
Well, they're playing at a rate of knots in transition. They're doing a fantastic job of getting out and running. They've got 20 points in the paint already that's come from transition, but then also being able to have work rate on the offensive glass. So there's 9-second chance points. They've got 5 offensive rebounds for the quarter already, 2 to Nicole Munger. So being able to play with pace and a reaction time advantage, they're doing a heck of a job with it. They spread the floor within their half court and the ball changes sides, and they're able to stay both vertically and then horizontally spaced, so there's room to attack the paint off the dribble and put yourself in positions to either get layup attempts or get fouled. And right now it's layup attempts because I think Adelaide's a little late to help.
And alternatively, what do Adelaide need to do to try and get back into this one? A big thing that sticks out on my score sheet is Steph Talbot yet to score.
Yeah, look, you've got Steph Talbot, who's arguably one of the top 2 players on the court at any given time in this contest. Can you put her in positions to be hard to guard? Some of that will control your shot selection. So the back end of that quarter, it looked a little out of sync and a little wild at times. And when your team doesn't have you know, perhaps the predictability of when and where the shots are coming from, it can be hard to have a presence on the offensive glass, you know, to slow the Canberra break or to come up with an offensive rebound yourself and put that thing in.
Let's see the stats so far for quarter time, and the Capitals, well, they are shooting at a great clip. 52%, Adelaide at 35, still not too bad, but could be a lot better. 3-pointers, both teams have hit one each, and then the rebounds, Canberra dominating 15-7, assists 4-3, so not too many in that department. And then points in the paint, thanks to Alex Bunton, I believe, really, 20-8, Mark.
Yeah, incredible. And I think, you know, the game right there is the field goal percentage that you talked about, and qualitatively it's the shot selection and the shot quality that one team is getting and the other is not. So if you're the Caps, you want to continue to go to the well, try and have reaction time advantages, get on the rim, force Adelaide to have to defend you in transition, pick the ball up, get the basket protected and then get matched up, and then be able to defend you in the half court. If you're Adelaide, you want to be able to create some flow within your offense. So that might mean orchestrating some type of a scoring look for either Whittle or for Talbot. You know, you've got two real weapons there that are able to put the ball in the basket, but a predictability of where your shot comes from means that you're going to have a chance to compete for the offensive rebound and keep the ball alive.
So the second quarter about to get underway on Ngunnawal country, and the WNBL's Indigenous round. It's a great initiative by the comps and great uniforms, and Adelaide showing off theirs early in the second term.
Case in point, that was Whittle to Talbot.
Those two working in tandem early. Adelaide fans will be hoping that can continue as they try to work their way back into this game. Munga out to Melbourne. To Swain now. Thought about the three, then went for it. Burrell tried to slap it down, but it only went as far as Whittle, who gets it to Mansfield. Mansfield yet to score. Talbot getting herself into this game very quickly, up to 5 points, just like that.
And playing to their identity, right? So they're the team that scores the most points out of anybody in the competition on fast breaks, and they make, I think, a top 4 amount of 3-pointers per game.
Melbourne couldn't loop it in the first time or the second time, so it falls to Mansfield for Adelaide, and they've started this quarter really well. Nat Hurst will be so pleased with that, especially the work of Steph Talbot, who goes in once again.
And spreading the floor. You know, they're running the lanes in transition wide, so they're seeking a sideline and then getting deep, and that's creating the space for Talbot to do what she does and be a handful off the bounce.
Burrell looking to respond for Canberra, couldn't bank it in, and Adelaide off and running again. This time Simons puts on the afterburners. Mansfield, where's Steph Talbot? Mansfield goes in on her own, and it works out perfectly. Adelaide back into this game.
Yeah, and to their identity. You know, this is Adelaide Lightning basketball, this start of the second quarter. Can I get stops? Can I go at a rate of knots in transition, play with pace and space? And then they're a real key or 3 team. They do a great job of getting to the basket. They're top 4 in the competition in points in the paint. But then they make, as I said, top 4 amount of 3-point shots in the competition as well. So if you give them the freedom to run, that's the style that they want to play.
Munga now, her team up by 3 after they led by 14 points at quarter time. Burrell can't put it in. Basham. This time she gets the pass out to Talbot. Back to Basham now. Whittle just collects the rebound. That's good hustle from Marina Whittle. And now Mansfield can't put it in. Munga just looking for an option now. Canberra looking a bit slower, not playing with as much pace. Still pretty good as Munga gets a much-needed basket for the home team.
And a tough basket too. There's no backboard angle on that one, and fading out of bounds is really difficult. It's a huge shot.
With the crowd at her back as well, cheering on every point. Melbourne keeping it in and getting off and running for the Caps. Puts the Jets on, but the ball just flies out of her hands. Luckily, Canberra have another go at it.
And I think it's plays like that that if you're Adelaide, this is where you need to shrink space around the ball or around the driver, for instance. So maybe not guarding off Burrell in the strong side corner of the floor, but you've got to have everybody else with a foot on the lane line or inside the paint. Canberra's only 2 of 8 from the 3-point line, so you've got to force them to have to beat you a different way. Right now, it's to the rim. You know, test out their ability to consistently hit that three-point shot, because history would suggest this season that that's a little bit of an Achilles heel for this team.
So 30 points to 24. It'll be a Canberra ball from the sideline. Adelaide have come out firing in this second term. They have to thank Steph Talbot for that. Up to 7 points in this quarter alone. Melbourne. Cut off there by Whittle. And Talbot off and running again. Simons all alone in the corner. Makes it count!
Outstanding play and just great unselfishness to be able to find the shooter in the corner opposite.
And we'll have a timeout called by the Caps, because Adelaide are right back into this contest on the back of Steph Talbot's performance to start off. And this timeout is brought to you by Cygnett. This game has been sensational so far. For the fans tuning in from home, or on the go, make sure your Cygnett charging products are ready to power up your devices, because you won't want to miss a second of the action. Check out the extensive range of Aussie-designed digital accessories right for you at cygnett.com. So Adelaide getting right back into this contest, Mark. It's been 13 points to 3 to start off this second term. What do you think Kristen Veal's saying in her huddle?
Well, I think for her, it's, being able to have an answer for the transition. So, some of it has come from shot selection. Again, almost like these teams have switched jerseys coming out of the quarter time break. But, can they get back on track with their half-court execution if the transition doesn't present for them? But then they're probably talking about, can they have the ball picked up early? Can they have a safety player go and protect the basket so that you're able to take away those easy layups? And then that buys time for everybody else to get matched up in transition defensively, so you can start to load some of those players towards whoever has the ball and take away driving lanes. But it's purely an effort thing. Again, it's literally like the teams have flipped the identity of one another from what we saw in the first quarter. So this next 7 minutes is going to be really critical.
Yeah, so Capitals now leading by just 3 points. They had a 14 point, I should say, lead at the end of the first term, and Adelaide just came out of nowhere. They did exactly what you wanted, Mark, really, just creating some opportunities for Talbot, and she's used them to her advantage. Let's see what Bunton's got. Had a really hot start to this game. Gives it to Burrell, who's had a great season, but that one just rims out.
And you saw all 5 people from Adelaide on or inside the keyway there, on the lane line or inside the key. So it shrunk all the space. Burrell had to shoot fading away.
Whittle can't bake that one in, but another offensive rebound. Both teams have been really good on the offensive boards tonight.
Yeah, and really good hustle by Whittle to get that second rebound. Often when you rebound with your shoulders facing away from the hoop, that's probably a good time to kick the ball out to a shooter, though.
Mansfield just keeps it in. Talbot, what she got in store for us this time. Gives it off to Simons, who's having a great game so far. Puts another bucket in.
And she's a tremendous shooter, so it's exciting to see her come in off the bench. She's not played a whole lot this season, but we know she can shoot the basketball. For her to come in and be confident when her opportunities present is huge for the Lightning.
So look at that. The lead just cut down to 1. Britt Smart disputing that foul.
An unsportsmanlike foul called. So I think the referee determined that there was a clear path to the basket when the foul occurred.
Always tricky ones to call, but Mansfield is at the line and can equal the score if she puts this one in, and does so.
She's old faithful, Lauren Mansfield. Just dependable, reliable, generally makes good decisions, shoots the ball at an outstanding, or normally shoots at an outstanding clip. Compliments are banned by me, it seems.
No, it's just the commentator's curse in general, unfortunately.
No, been a tremendous player for a lot of years, Lauren Mansfield, and continues to be.
Whittle. Quick catch and release for Marina Whittle, and Adelaide in front, 33-30. They've had a tremendous second term. What can Canberra do to respond now? Kalea dumps it into Smart in the corner. This would be big. Instead, Munga comes down with the offensive board. Melbourne back to Munga, who loves a 3 this game. That's her first miss from beyond the perimeter. Kalea into Melbourne. Just looking for an option. Shot clock now ticking down to 5. It's a quick pass to Smart. Much needed bucket there for Canberra.
And no pun intended, but a really smart screen by Cherie Kalia, who was able to pin the defender into the keyway and created all that time and space for Smart to take the 3 in the corner.
Talbot can't respond. Smart wants Melbourne and finds her. And gets it back into Smart. Just can't loop it in, but she's at the charity stripe.
Yeah, and you know, for her to be able to go from making that 3 to then getting out on the break like this and getting on the tip of the rim, it shows what a dangerous player she is. You need to know where she is at all times on the floor. You've got to find her in transition because there's that threat of the 3. But then she can and does a great job of cutting to the basket for little layups and hangs around it for offensive rebounds as well.
So Smart makes the first one. She's been really productive off the bench, and she was really productive the last 2 teams played, but as you can see, it is, of course, Cygnett WNBL Indigenous Round. And as part of the WNBL's Indigenous Round, Basketball Australia has created a cultural awareness quiz to provide practical resources for the WNBL clubs and community to learn more about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. Once the results have identified topics you can improve your knowledge on, educational resources are available on the WNBL website. Head to WNBL.basketbol to take the quiz now. And I've taken the quiz, I must say, it does test your knowledge. It's a really good insight into Indigenous culture around Australia and just gives you a lot of facts to say at the dinner table. It's a great quiz to take. Talbot banks it in. She's continuing her good run of form in this second term. And scores a back level. Smart. Big shot. Can't land it. Talbot dumps it to Gabillo. Gets around Tuliak. And it'll be a Canberra ball. So good defence from Chloe Tuliak there.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, we talked about Abby Cubillo showing an ability to play at 2 different tempos. That was probably one where she's got to then pull the ball back out. There's nothing that presents offensively in front of you when you've got defenders loaded. So, you know, there's probably an instruction to try to push the ball in transition, but then making the correct read when nothing looks like it's presenting ahead in terms of advantage, that's the time to wheel it back out and get all 5 players back on the same page and run a play.
So here is Cabillo. She's spent the week in Darwin with Shanice Swain, who she's playing against tonight, and Ashaya Parker-Williams to connect with Darwin communities to celebrate WNBL Indigenous Round. Good to see her starting tonight, but Whittle couldn't keep it in for her team.
Unlucky, but great hustle to go and try and keep that possession alive because, you know, look, she misses out on the keeping the ball in, but what it does is the ball goes out of bounds and then now you've got all 5 defenders loaded and back behind all of the Caps players, so you can defend far better.
Smart. Out to Munga. And just misses Melbourne on the pass. Very uncharacteristic from Nicole Munga.
And credit to Abby Cubillo being able to close out defensively, so chase the ball out and then close out through the passing lane. So often when a ball gets kicked out like that, it usually ends up in an extra pass to the corner, so she anticipated that and put her hand in the road.
Munga, let's see if she can respond. Tuliak dumps it in to Melbourne. That's a great assist, and Melbourne brings out a little chainsaw there.
Incredible pass, and chalk that one up to potential player of the week. That was huge.
WNBL social media team, if you're watching, put that one in. It was a great look. Let's see what Adelaide's got here, courtesy of Abby Cabillo. Spins and gives it to Whittle. Just shoves Tuliak out of the way. That's good strength from Marina Whittle.
And she's crafty with step throughs as well, and such a physical presence. So you can come in and, you know, lay a little body on her shoulder, and, you know, she's strong enough to be able to wear that contact and then still finish.
Burrell couldn't finish there though, and we tick down to the 3-minute mark. Scores level. This game's panning out to what it was 2 weeks ago when they went into overtime. I wonder if we could see it again. Simons kicks it out, gets it back, goes for 3 and just can't get it through. Munga, who's loved a 3-ball this game, this time hands it to Burrell. And we had an interruption before Burrell was able to release that, so Adelaide will get the ball back. I think Burrell might have just stepped out of bounds. Timeout called. A good breather for both teams. It's been high-octane basketball in this second term. 2 minutes 41 left. 37 apiece is what the scoreline reads. And you can see the fouls on this other side of your screen. Swain, Munro and Basham with a couple. But at the moment, it's pretty tight, Mark. It's good to see Adelaide come out with a bit of fire in this term and really put it up to the Capitals on their home deck.
Yeah, so they're winning the quarter right now 23-10 and playing far more of the style that we're accustomed to seeing them play. The challenge is that's got you back in the contest now, so there's going to be a response from Coach Veal and the Caps in terms of strategy to try to blow that up. So you might find a defensive change. They'll talk about, mentioned earlier, the shot quality or the shot selection so that they can support it with a rebounding presence and then have somewhat of a defensive transition to not let Adelaide get out and run. But then it'll force a counter move from Coach Hurst here from Adelaide. How do you still continue to create good shots, create time and space advantages when you're going to be stuck at times playing within the half court? Can you steer your team towards, perhaps there's a play that you run or a motion offense that keeps all 5 people on the same page and might orchestrate a whole lot of good looks for the likes of Whittle, for the likes of Talbot to be, difficult to guard as they are.
So 23 points to 10 in this term for the Lightning. Let's see what they could do with just over 2 minutes left. Marina Whittle leading the way with 13 points. Munga leading the way for Canberra with 14 points to go with 8 rebounds. So double-double watch already for Nicole Munga. Whittle spinning and scoring with the M1. That is tough from Marina Whittle.
She's really come alive here in this quarter, and you've seen a little bit of the skill package that she has. So here, getting to the rim, we've seen her ability to shoot the 3 earlier in the first quarter. She's competing on possession play. There's a number of offensive streams that she's able to help your team with, and when she's active in all of those, she can be a handful. It could be argued that between Talbot and Marina Whittle, they're 2 of the top 3 players on the court at any given time. For Adelaide, you've got 2 of them. Can you get them good looks consistently?
They've been doing a good job so far in this quarter. Let's see what Canberra could do. Melbourne to Bunton. Hasn't played too many minutes this game, as to be expected coming off injury, but she's been vital when she's been on. Melbourne wants to get it back to Bunton. Instead goes to Munga, guarded heavily by Whittle. Yeah, and it affects the shot.
Great defense by Marina Whittle.
She gets it back on the offensive end now. Gives it to Munro. Just loses it in transition.
Unfortunate. That would have been a big play for the Lightning late in this quarter and would have been great reward for Jacinta Munro to run the floor like that. If you're the 5 or the centre for your team, if you can win a race down the floor at the point of changeover of possession, compared to your matchup, you can get on the end of a lot of easy scores.
Munga dumping it into Melbourne and a foul called. So 40-37. Adelaide got on top in the second term. It was all Canberra in the first term. They led at quarter time by 14. Now it looks like Adelaide might be able to take a lead. Just under 2 minutes left to play before we hit the end of the opening half, and it's been a really exciting one. 7th versus 8th, but it doesn't feel like it. Feels like there's something on the line here tonight. Burrell trying to get around Munro. Does so, but just can't convert the shot.
And credit to the defense of Adelaide. Munro on that particular possession, if I recall correctly, that's probably the 3rd or 4th shot attempt for Burrell where she's been fading away from the hoop.
And Mansfield, does that one count? I think it might. Either way, Adelaide continue to find good looks, but that one unfortunately won't count. So Munga inbounding it for Canberra. And off to Kalea. Just trying to find an option here, Cherie Kalea. Adelaide are doing really well on the offensive and defensive end to get themselves back in this game and take the lead. Bunton going to work on Badish, double teamed, got the shot up and again heads to the charity stripe.
and so experienced, right? So she can feel the change in momentum, that this quarter has brought for her team. Slows the ball down, gets it inside, which is a familiar place for her to have the basketball. She goes to work in the post, draws the foul on the free throw line. Everybody settles, the game stops. Great result for the Caps.
Fortunately, she misses that first free throw, shooting 76% from this range. And misses a second as well, so that won't help her team. But Adelaide can respond through Whittle once again, and this time she heads to the line. She's really unplayable right now, Mark.
Well, I mean, she's a tough matchup for anybody. So, similar thought to how I alluded to how you would try to guard Jade Melbourne. I mean, they're a difficult matchup, one out at the best of times. But, can you pick where you might be able to bring a whole lot of help from? So you might have an inbuilt defensive rotation that you go to, or you might try to stay at home with those players and pick perhaps the weaker of the three-point shooters on the floor, and then have that player come and try to shrink all of the space or crowd the driving lane of Marina Whittle, force the ball to go elsewhere.
So another 2 free throws missed. That might become crucial as we head to the end of the game. As we know, these two teams played a couple of close ones this season. Bunton, offensive rebound, but no score avails. So Mansfield, can she make a 3-point shot count this time? She elects to hold it and then dishes it out to Whittle, who's on fire right now, but travelled. So Canberra, a chance to get some momentum back late in this term. But we'll have a momentum timeout right on cue. Coaches know what they're doing, I tell you. 37-40 is the score. 32 seconds left. That's a good little breather for both coaches and both teams, really, Mark.
Yeah, and the Caps will come out of this, with a patterned play. So that'll be the impetus for the timeout. So Kristen Veal will be trying to orchestrate a particular look for a player within this. So the counter move, if you're the Adelaide Lightning, if you're Coach Hurst, is to give a different look. So the ball's going to be passed in from the backcourt. Don't allow them to come down and have to, be prepared to run a play versus a man-to-man defense, for instance. So maybe you show a half-court trap and try to disrupt their timing. You might show a 2-3 zone for the possession, or whatever is within your defensive package. So when they're prepared to come out and orchestrate what they want, you almost change all of the questions for them.
So Kristen Veal saying some harsh words in her timeout. Both coaches pretty animated. As we know, a coach is never happy. Even though Adelaide have had a fantastic quarter, 26 points to 10, really getting on top of the Caps. They didn't want what happened last game, where they went into overtime and they were right with them that whole game, and then that last 5 minutes they just took the foot off the pedal. So they're trying to learn their lessons. Both teams going hard at it. It's great to see. Indigenous round. It's 7th versus 8th, but it feels like there's a lot of pride on the line. There's a series on the line, and the crowd's right into it too.
And more learning opportunities, right? You get better in these sorts of circumstances, playing under pressure and having to execute.
Burrell to Munga. Bunton. Melbourne. They're getting it through hands, Canberra. But the call looks like it goes against them.
Yeah, I think an illegal screen called on Alex Bunton, but I love the play design there. The ball changed sides a couple of times, and then you had the three-point shooting threat of Ray Burrell coming off on that weak side, so where Jade Melbourne was facing, but then that lifted all of the help defense out, and you were going to have a rolling Alex Bunton to the basket. So had that have been a legal screen that she made, she probably would have had a wide-open layup out of that play.
So Adelaide want the last play of the term. Mansfield goes hard now. Cabillo for the 3, gets fouled. That's a big foul there. And Cabillo will head to the line and go for 3 free throws. It was good work by her. Swain just with a bit too invasive with the hand in the face. That'll be Swain's 3rd foul as well. As Cabillo knocks down the free throw.
And this is a chance, it's a teachable moment if you're Coach Kristen Veal to have that conversation with Shanice Swain. One in terms of context, because now Cubillo gets 3 free throws, really late in the quarter. They can, leave Adelaide going into the halftime break with some momentum. But it also, as you said, it's the 3rd foul for Shanice Swain, and she's important to their team.
Melbourne, geez, she looks like she's going to hit it whenever she launches it from long range, but this time off the mark. But at half-time, Adelaide Lightning take back the lead, 41 points, leading Canberra 37. They got on top in that second term with a really prolific quarter. It ended up being 26 points to 10. And Mark, we're in for a really exciting contest. A big second half coming up, that's for sure.
Yeah, and to see which team gains the ascendancy back. You know, we've been able to see the best that the Caps have to offer with their sheer pace in transition, the work ethic, their ability to space the floor and respace it within the half court, and then, you know, that's a 27-14 quarter that they were able to open with as a result. But then for the Lightning to have the character to flip the game on its head and then play it on their own terms in transition, you know, they get 6 fast break points, they've made 5 threes. This is the style that they want to play. They win the second quarter 27-10. You know, this next half of basketball could really go either way.
Don't go anywhere. It is the Lightning leading the Capitals by 4 points at halftime at the National Convention Centre on Ngunnawal country. Don't go anywhere. It's been a great celebration of WNBL Indigenous round so far. We'll continue that after the break and see a scintillating second half as well.
Down low. Davidson, great movement. Easy bucket. George for 3.
Melbourne's off and running. A nice pass to Burrell. That's great play there from the Caps. Melbourne's got to go. Does she realise she has to go?
Hey.
She knows she has to go. Shot clock ticks down below 10. Melbourne goes to work and gets the finish. And lets out the biggest scream. And the crowd get up and about because the Canberra Capitals have won their second game of the season in front of a delighted National Convention Centre.
Draws a crowd, leaves Woods wide open, and they pay the price. Dibby screaming for it on the inside. Tapped away by Reed, who was starting to really assert her authority. Goes to work on Chef, gets it to go. Count the points, she's going to the line for an extra.
Nail this one.
Reed's brought it very quickly in for Hawkins. Eyes like a Tiana Hawkins.
Inga Kahia on the wing. Woods behind her back. Pretty move off the window. Probing. Assessing her options. 6 seconds, goes herself to the rack. Manga Kahia. Kayla Thornton makes her move in the lane. Just misses. Oh, so close, and the Flames have come into Melbourne and stolen victory at John Cain Arena.
Team, you would never know that this is the very first time ever that a WNBL game has been at John Cain Arena. This is like a well-rehearsed crowd. It is actually nuts in here. I don't think I've ever heard it this loud, and I've been here for many different events. So well done to the WNBL crowd. Clearly passionate and clearly having a ball.
If she could.
What are we sounding like? Are they playing highlights?
It's the biggest WNBL season yet, and superstar Lauren Jackson returns. Turn it up. Don't miss a block, basket, or game winner.
Just not steal the win.
WNBL, live on 9 now.
Do not underestimate the power of a good blind. Take this exhausted couch. Now it stands before you. Magnifique. Even this cocktail of dead skin is gracefully waltzing. Da 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 da. DIY blinds. Change the ugly.
I'm
so ready for love.
Australia's biggest social experiment.
Oh my God.
It's not easy to meet girls when you're like 900 k's from civilization.
Is on 9 now.
I look like the girl next door. I'm actually a little freak in the sheets.
Stream every new episode of The Love Phenomenon. Completely free, whenever you want.
Let's get married.
New Married at First Sight on 9 now.
Gossip Girl here, your one and only source into the scandalous lives of Manhattan's elite. XOXO Gossip Girl.
Get your summer streaming on 9 now.
So baby, in 90 days, we're gonna be husband and wife.
I was with her for 5 days, and then I proposed to her.
She's so eager to be in love, she lets red flags just go.
People say 19-year-old, she's just using you. Maybe she could be.
90 Day Fiancé. Get your summer streaming on 9 now. Tune in to the WNBL show, dropping weekly during the season and released across your favourite podcast network every Tuesday. Or watch the full vodcast at WNBL.basketbol. League MVP.
I'll never get used to that, by the way. That's a bit strange.
We can always come to you for a great inspirational quote.
Join me, Megan Hustray, and my team of co-hosts, stars across the league, as we talk about everything that's happening on and off the court in the Cygnett WNBL.
This year, Australia wants
more. Everything. That's way more than I thought.
more.
Celebrities, snogging with the stars.
More.
Exciting.
Shocking.
Unhinged. Thrilling. I don't mean dramatic, but should we call an ambulance? More Sophie Monk.
New The 100.
High five! What is happening?
The new season of The 100. Stream the latest episodes on 9 now.
Think about the lives wrecked. This man isn't a forensic pathologist. He's a charlatan.
One of Australia's most senior politicians on the payroll of the mafia. It's the worst question in the world to ask somebody. Do you think your mother killed your father?
Conspiracies, murders, cover-ups. Australia's most astonishing cases go under investigation. Stream the latest episodes on 9 now.
When you look at the elite levels of basketball, there's a lot of pathways at that level. But when you talk about community grassroots, it's a lot harder, I think, to sort of break through that barrier. But I think this platform is trying to sort of bridge that gap.
This platform really starts to drive pathways and opportunities, particularly around the pillars of coaching, officiating and administrating.
That's why this platform is important to me.
I think really early on, I probably didn't even know about the WNBL, you know.
Step to the left, takes it all the way to the...
Darwin was sort of my whole world, but I also was lucky enough to have a coach who had connections in Sydney. He found a school, and then it was like really fast from there. It was like, you're going to boarding school in this many weeks. It was pretty much a whirlwind, and it's felt like that ever since. It always feels like a refreshing feeling to get back here and spend that limited time that I generally do have.
So for the artwork, you know, it's representation of you and your character. So was there any women that also influenced you on your journey?
Obviously, my mum and sisters have had a massive impact on me. My nana as well has been like really influential. Like her life story, being a part of the stolen generation, is just crazy. So I think that resilience that I have definitely stems from her and her guest life stories. It seems pretty crazy to have kids look up to me. I guess highlighting the Indigenous athlete, I think, gives them a realistic pathway to be able to achieve at the highest level. I think sport's such a great platform to be able to do that and use people that younger kids already look up to and put them in this light and say we want to celebrate this as a nation.
Welcome back to the National Convention Centre on Ngunnawal country, where it is the Lightning leading the Caps at halftime. We just saw a wonderful feature there, Mark Alabakoff, on Abby Cabillo, the first Larrakia player to feature in the WNBL. We know how impressive she is on the court. She's just as impressive off it. Such a great role model. What a great round this is. We get to celebrate people like her for a whole week. It's great.
It really is, and I mean, she's had a tremendous season for the Adelaide Lightning. It's fantastic to see her with the opportunities that she's had, using the long apprenticeship that she had with the Caps, playing alongside and under some of the best point guards that we've seen in WNBL history, like Leilani Mitchell, Kelly Wilson, etc. And now being able to use those lessons and ply her trade and, you know, really come into her own as an athlete this season.
It's been great to see. She's having a good start to the game so far. Just the 1 point in terms of the offensive, but she's been really energetic defensively, and great to see her getting a start tonight as well. So at halftime, it is Adelaide leading. They were down 14 points at the end of the first term. Now got themselves back up to lead by 4 points, and it's off the back of that really good field goal percentage, Mark.
It is, and they, you know, had a chance to get out and run and play the style of basketball that they've wanted to play. I mean, this has been Adelaide Lightning for the entirety of the season. Fast break points, the ability to get points in the paint that usually comes from their athleticism and getting to the basket, but also the 3-point shot that started to fall a little bit in that quarter. And, you know, and the balance of those two things made them difficult to defend. It was really a half of 2 quarters.
It was, and you can see the points in the paint that you just talked about. Adelaide were really down in that stat at the end of the first quarter. 22 points I think Canberra had to Adelaide's 5. So they've really evened up the scoreline and points in the paint and in terms of the game overall. Can you predict what happens from here? I mean, last time these two teams played, it went to overtime. Could we see that again, perhaps?
Absolutely we can. I mean, the way that this game's going, it's certainly trending in that direction. I think it'll be interesting to see what the response is tactically and the discipline that the teams have to be able to hold to that and the resilience to do that when it gets tough.
So celebrating WNBL Indigenous round with this blockbuster clash here. Capitals up against the Lightning at the National Convention Centre. Shanice Swain, one of the stars, unfortunately turns it over to Talbot on that occasion. And then Whittle, who's 5 from 5 from the field. This time dumps it to Munro, who might have just got a foot out of bounds there.
We got a foul call.
It might have been pushed out, actually, by one of the Canberra players. So Adelaide get it back.
But that's what I alluded to earlier, that she does a tremendous job of, Jacinta Munro, running the floor at the turn of possession. She provides a target that you can throw to, or it puts a whole lot of stress on the defense. So maybe you can throw the ball into her and she can score 2 feet out, or, you know, it puts you in positions to have to be physical to move her away from, you know, the tip of the rim.
Here is Whittle, the danger woman. And this time play stops again. So a bit stop-start to start off this second half.
Both teams bringing a physicality too, so you can see how much this game means to both of these programs.
Exactly right. 7th versus 8th if you look at it on the ladder, but there's a lot more on the line. There's pride, there's a series win, there's an Indigenous round win as well. How special is it to get a win in jumpers like these? Of course, Adelaide's designed by Paulie and Hunter Vandenberg. Canberra's have been wearing theirs all season. A joint design between the University of Canberra and some local elders as well. So both teams have done a great job designing their uniforms. And all teams really across the league. I can't wait to see Townsville and Bendigo unleash theirs once again up next after this game. It's really great to see. Melbourne just swings a pass to Bunton and then she shoves Mansfield out of the way.
inadvertent and just a little bit awkward. Like a heads-up play there from Lauren Mansfield. My goodness.
We'll see Nicholson next.
Yeah, I'm already thinking about the game ahead. No, Lauren Mansfield to know that there's a threat of that slip to the basket and be able to help from the low split line and come and get in the road there.
So a few fouls to start off this term, and Shanice Swain in particular, she's on the bench at the moment with 4 fouls, so she'll need to watch herself in this game. She'd be a very important player for the Capitals heading down the stretch. Of course, coming off that knee injury, hasn't played since early Jan. So just over a month. Back tonight, but on the bench. Whittle, though, she's on the floor. She's shooting it well, but just can't get the 3 on that occasion.
And the Caps trying to shut down some of the open space that Adelaide's done a better job of creating within the half court. They're using a switching defense. They came to trap the post there from the player that was furthest away, which was Marina Whittle, and then a heads-up play from Talbot to throw the ball to her. Then they had, I think it was Munga, scrambled out to try and get a hand to it.
So a few bodies hit the deck there. Both teams have gone really hard for the offensive rebounds in particular, I've noticed.
Yeah, and in separate quarters, though, so that's what's been most interesting. So this is where the second half is going to be huge. Who's got the resilience and the discipline to keep competing, especially when it gets hard or, even when momentum might not be in their favour?
Oh, Whittle steps up at the right moment. It gets the scoring underway for Adelaide in this second half.
Talk about momentum being in your favour. She's perfect from the field. Perfect 6 from 6.
Whittle's having some sort of game. She's in a good vein of form. Starting in the last 2 games. Making use of her minutes, that's for sure. Melbourne. Smart. Loves this spot. That is great from Britt Smart.
She's going to be crucial in this second half. If I had to pick 2 players that are the linchpins or keys to this contest, arguably it's Mansfield and Smart, and how dangerous both of them can be, when it's winning time. We know the class of Whittle, we know the class of Talbot and Melbourne, but what do those other athletes do that have got big game experience and can come through for you?
We also know the class of Munro puts in another bucket there for Adelaide. Extends their lead now to 5. Munro gets herself into double-digit points this game too. Quiet performance from her, you think, but she's been working away. Melbourne dumps it out to Munga. And it was a travel call before Munga hit the 3. So good defense there from the Lightning, trying everything they can to stop Jade Melbourne, who's on triple-double watch. 7 points, 5 rebounds and 6 assists.
And it came from Steph Talbot, just getting an arm in the road, forced Jade Melbourne to have to go to plan B, to give the ball up and force somebody else to try to beat you.
Talbot launches a long 2. Munro grabs the offensive board, can't bank it in. Whittle somehow takes it out of the defender's hands. That one rolls out as well. So Adelaide just can't buy a bucket in that sequence. Let's see if Canberra can. Munga driving hard. And you can see Mansfield there hitting the deck for Adelaide. So really good contest between these 2 players, Munga and Mansfield.
And the hunger, right? So Munga putting her head down, trying to get to the basket. And I just mentioned that, big plays are going to come from the players Mansfield and then Britt Smart. And already featuring early, Mansfield on the defensive end, just sliding to get her midline in front of Munga as a driver, wearing the contact down the middle, securing possession now for her team.
Munro. Now Talbot dumps it back into Munro, who just passed it to the voice in the corner, but Mansfield was just a bit further out than she thought. So an important stop here for Canberra. Down by 5, they had the ascendancy, dominated the first quarter. They dropped right off in the second term. And now I'm sure Kristen Veal would have had some wise words at halftime to see if they can get themselves back into this one. Burrell. She's got some tape on the elbow after halftime. Talbot. Driving hard here on Tuliak. And then Burrell comes in out of nowhere. Adelaide to get it back from the baseline, and Talbot hits the deck quite hard there. And even opposition players surrounding the great Steph Talbot. No one wants to see her injured.
Looked like she twinged an ankle, perhaps, on that drive to the basket. It wasn't in total flow. When she got to the keyway, you saw her lift that leg up. Let's hope she's okay.
Absolutely. Steph Talbot having a good game so far. 9 points, a couple of rebounds, but she's still down on the floor. Really unfortunate scenes here. Here she is on the replay here. Just seeing her just get caught under the defense there. And now she'll get herself, hopefully, in safe hands off the court. It's good to see her up on her feet, but a clear limp. Can't put any weight on that ankle. Here's a better look at the angle now, and you can see they just sort of hopped away, Mark. It was quite an awkward one.
Yeah, it looks like she's twinged perhaps the ankle, or perhaps it's the knee. It looked like when she went to take off for that layup attempt, because we're so used to seeing her elevate and she can get up almost near the rim with her finish. So for her to not be able to get off the ground, something's gone wrong for her, unfortunately. Let's hope she's okay.
Absolutely. See there, she was in quite a lot of pain. Couldn't really put a heap of weight onto that ankle.
But I mentioned earlier, used the word resilience. This is where it comes into play. So you've been able to overcome a really slow start if you're the Adelaide Lightning. Now you see your best player and the catalyst for so much of your offense go off with an injury. Can you stay focused and on task? There's still a heck of a lot of basketball to be played. Steph Talbot will get attended to. She'll get looked after. But can you stay competitive and don't allow that to take from your focus in this ball game?
A big moment for Sam Simons there, coming on in her place. Let's see what she can do in the interim. Hopefully we see Steph Talbot back out here. Simons back with it. Mansfield wants to get going. Goes long and strong. Lauren Mansfield.
And just if anyone's going to step up, it's going to be someone the caliber of Lauren Mansfield.
Smart. She's been pretty good shooting from 3-point range too. Melbourne up against Cabillo, two young guns, and Melbourne pops it in.
It's a shootout.
It's all class from Jane Melbourne and Lauren Mansfield there. Cabillo now wants a piece of the action, and she'll head to the line as a consequence.
And really quick change of pace, so that becomes difficult to anticipate. One thing that she does an outstanding job of, Abby Cabillo, is she waits till she safely gets the ball to the other side of her body. So when she uses her change of direction move, and often it's a crossover, she'll go left to right, but then that's kind of the starter's gunshot on a sprint race. She just gets into 100% tempo all the way to the rim, and she's hard to stay in front of because she's so quick in a straight line.
Big week for Abby Cabillo. Tops it off with 2 free throws there. She's been in Darwin all this week, reconnecting with some local communities, along with Shanice Sway and Nashaya Parker-Williams, doing some great things in those communities, promoting WNBL Indigenous round. Burrell going to work on Whittle. And that ball just rims out. It's been a few of those close shots tonight.
There has been for her, so she's 1 of 8 from the field now. I can only remember one shot attempt that she's taken, really going strong to the basket. Everything else, whether it's by her choice or, a lot of times it's because of the great defense that the Lightning have been playing. She's been fading, and whether that's backwards or on that last possession, fading out to the bottom corner of the backboard. It's hard to put yourself in rhythm to get the layup or put yourself in a position to get a foul or even an offensive rebound when you're going away from the hoop.
And I don't know if you noticed in that replay, Mark, that she was sort of in a bit of pain. She seems to be dealing with something in her elbow there. A bit of tape after half time. Looked like she was sort of wincing after that shot. So hopefully she's not dealing with anything too seriously. But yes, they definitely need some good shots from her. Because Adelaide have had plenty of good shots from Whittle. She pops in those free throws there. Here come Canberra now. Or can they convert on the offensive end? Gets cut off by Munro. Only momentarily, Burrell would love this to hop in, and it does.
And you've got to stay on Burrell watch, right? She's got the ability to be a match winner for them, and you can see by Adelaide putting Marina Whittle, one of their best players, on Burrell. It shows the amount of respect that they have for Ray Burrell as a scorer.
Simons to Mansfield. Going in on the left and then dishing it to Munro. That is nice from Jacinta Munro.
She's really come alive with that pick and pop game. Out to the short corner there. You know, I mentioned earlier, a lot of teams challenged her to shoot it from the perimeter, and she's shown that that's within her skill package.
Smart. Tuliak from the corner. Smart got it back and got blocked emphatically by Munro. She says, this is my house. I may be in Canberra, but I still own this floor.
And she's got such length around her too. When you've got a basket protector like her, she can change shots. So just her presence there, the moment that Britt Smart got the rebound, she was ready to go back up with it in the air like the alley-oop play we had earlier. But when you've got Jacinta Munro at the paint, it just dissuades you from being able to do that.
So shot clock down to 5. Burrell goes in hard, but can't get her own rebound. Instead, concedes a foul. So it's getting quite aggressive in this third term. There has been a few fouls called. Both teams just upping the tempo.
And 13-9 in the quarter so far in favour of the Lightning. I mean, 4 points is not a huge margin, so it is the proverbial arm wrestle going on right now here in the third.
So as you can see, every foul from here conceded by the Caps will send the Lightning to the charity stripe. So a big consequence because there is 4 minutes to go in this third term, so it could be quite costly.
So if you coach Kristen Veal, that might elicit a change in defensive tactic. This might be a chance for you to roll out. I mean, they've had a 2-3 zone that they've run in previous games. You know, that might be something that they go to try and put themselves, you know, not in a position to foul.
Well, after a 2-year hiatus, the Cygnett WNBL Awards Night is back, proudly presented by Foot Locker. Come and join in the celebration with players, game officials and sponsors as we celebrate the season highlights and announce the MVP of the 2022/23 season. For tickets, you can visit WNBL.basketball. That'll be a great night. We get to see a lot of these players dressed up in fancy clothes, for one, but also get to celebrate their season. As we see Britt Smart at the free throw line, converting that one.
And that's the main thing. What a great initiative from the league to bring that back. You know, it creates a prestige around these fabulous athletes that we have, and you know, the incredible basketball they play and careers that they, you know, that they have. You know, within the WNBL and then in our national landscape, to be able to celebrate them, I think, is a wonderful thing.
And the MVP race is a pretty tight one. I can't remember it being this tight. There's so many contenders that could take it out this year.
My money's on Kayla George.
Yeah, she's been super strong for the Boomers. Whittle, super strong tonight for Adelaide. Couldn't get that one to go. Burrell wants to get around Cabillo. And head back to the baseline. So 55-47. The Lightning still holding that lead that they had at halftime. 3 minutes 40 left in this third term. And you can see Talbot's back on the bench there for Adelaide. Some good signs, but she's got ice on her knee, unfortunately. So that would signal that it's the end of her night, but good to see her out and about, out of the rooms. So Burrell can't put that shot up. Brooke got in the way. And again, good defense from the Lightning.
Great defense, you know, by Chelsea Brooke to come up and get a hand in the road there, get in the road of the shot, actually, from Ray Burrell. She had a rolling player to the basket who, if she was able to elevate, might have seen and been able to drop the ball off to there. So Chelsea Brooke gets the stop.
Saw some sad scenes on the bench there for Adelaide. Steph Talbot with the ice around her knee. But Whittle trying to create some happiness on the floor. And that'll put a smile on Steph Talbot's face, I'm sure. Marina Whittle puts her side up by 10.
And she's really in rhythm. The Caps are now challenged to find a way to disrupt that. That might be with another player, or it could be a defensive matchup in terms of who guards Marina Whittle.
So 20 points for Whittle. Smart puts up a long three. That one just rims out. Whittle off and running again. Cabillo just pulls up for a long two. Again, gets confronted, but this time no foul call. So Canberra can go off and running again. Burrell accepts the long pass from Melbourne, but can't convert.
And fading away, so where she misses that shot, they don't get another opportunity to get a rebound and put back.
They'll have another chance here to try and create a bit of better offense. It's in the right hands of Jade Melbourne. 10 points for her this game to go with 9 assists and 5 rebounds. We are on triple-double watch as well as double-double watch, of course. Here she goes again, but this time not successful.
It seems for both of these teams, the ball stopped moving as freely as what it did in the first half alone. So fatigue potentially playing a factor.
And this time, Canberra players get to Whittle and they cause a stop there. And there'll be a timeout as a result of that. So some momentum there sensed by Kristen Veal forced the timeout, which is brought to you by DIY Blinds. To fit out your home with Australian-made designer quality window furnishings at the best prices, head to DIYblinds.com.au to order your free samples today. So a close game coming out right between our eyes. The margin, is 10 points between these two teams, 47 to 57. The leading scorers, Whittle has 22 points for Adelaide, just playing a remarkable game. And then if you look at the UC Caps, it's Nicole Munger still leading the way with 11 points. Steph Talbot out for the game, it appears. Mark, what does that do for their lineup? Who steps up in her place?
Well, I think we're seeing it with Marina Whittle, absolutely. I mean, the Caps have got some questions to answer in terms of trying to stem the flow of her points. But I mentioned earlier, I think the key is going to be the heady play and decision-making of Lauren Mansfield. She stays a threat when she gets a second possession within the offense. She can shoot that 3-ball. Pushing it in transition or coming off any on-ball screens. She's generally a good decision maker. She passes in the direction of the help and she maximizes the time and space that you have to be able to get your shot off or get into the next action.
So a lot to play out still in this game. A series win on the line. Adelaide got the win over Canberra back in round 4, and then in round 13 it was the Caps who got their second win of the season. Took it all the way to overtime here at this venue. Caps are on a big run of home games as well, which is great for their Canberra fans who always pack out the convention centre. Brooke. Mansfield, long 3. That is good! Lauren Mansfield. Speaking of players stepping up, that is exactly what she's doing. Here go the Caps now. Tuliak, Pizzi. Haven't got her name much this game. Smart. Tuliak thought about it and then got it back out to the veteran, who kicks it out to Pizzi. Driving in and scoring. That's much better from Beck Pizzi.
And great for her to be able to come on the floor and then get a nice little layup attempt early, get herself into the ball game.
Her first points for the game, Beck Pizzi. Mansfield, Whittle, looking for a 24th point of the game, but that one just rims out. Melbourne, down to under a minute, so puts the afterburners on, loses the ball, but luckily she had some help. Can reset here. Kalea, Pizzi. Back out to Kalea. Goes for a long 3. And Whittle, guess who? There once again.
And credit Mansfield being able to do a great job of containing Jade Melbourne off the bounce there and blowing up that layup attempt.
Melbourne, you can't keep her out of the game for too long. She's there on the defensive end, running hot offensively as well. Sets her feet, can't score. Whittle. 15 seconds now until we say goodbye to the third term and head for a really exciting fourth term. As Mansfield holds it momentarily. She's got 3 seconds to work with. Dribbling around the Caps defense and just can't bank it in. But another good quarter from Adelaide sees them lead as we head into the final 10 minutes of the game, or could be 10 minutes, could be more, but either way, Adelaide 60 leading Canberra 49. Marina Whittle leading the way with 22 points. Nicole Munger with 11 for Canberra. There's been a lot of action in this game. As we know, Steph Talbot out, it appears, ice on the knee. We thought it was her ankle that might have been twigged, but she's out of the game, so a big finish coming up here, Mark. What do you think of the third term?
Well, I mean, it stayed an arm wrestle, didn't it, in a lot of ways. So it's a 19-13 quarter in the favour of Adelaide, but both lineups were able to ask questions of the other and try to stem the tide of the way both of them wanted to play. I think the Caps in the back end of the quarter looked like they'd lost their way a little bit of being in sync within the half-court offense. So they looked rushed, they looked a little bit panicked. panicked at times. I'd love to see Jade Melbourne be able to tuck the ball under her arm, get everybody on the same page at times, and be able to execute from within their system when those transition opportunities, that got them the lead at the start of the game, when they don't present. For Adelaide, can you continue to go to the well? You've got the hot hand for the most part in Marina Whittle. Lauren Mansfield has shown that she can get hot here in this late piece and step up for maybe the scoring punch that you lose with the absence of Steph Talbot. How can they orchestrate getting those two people the right type of shots where the ball moves, and then it can find them with some time and space to be able to do what they do best?
So here are the match stats up until three-quarter time. Adelaide 42%, Capitals 35 from the field. Three-pointers, both teams struggling a bit from that range, 29 and 27% respectively. 38 to 30 in rebounds, 10 to 11 in assists, and points in the paint has kept pretty close considering it was dominated by Capitals in the first term, then Adelaide, and then it evened out a bit in that third term mark. Yeah, and you saw a whole lot more perimeter type of action because both teams did a better job of stemming the tide of those points in the paint. If we look at season averages, and generally things go to percentages, not always, but it can be used as a guide. Adelaide averages 9 or 10 made three-pointers per game, so they're currently at, 6, whereas the Capitals, they average 6 made threes for the game, and they're on that already. So if you're Adelaide, do you test them from the three-point line? Do you try to pack in the paint a little bit in this quarter? Big finish coming up on Ngunnawal country. It's going to be Canberra who have the ball in their hands first. Down by 11 points at the moment. They can't get the first blood.
Well executed play though. They got the shot that they wanted, an open layup that unfortunately didn't go down for Tuliak.
Mansfield now. She's been stepping up in the absence of Steph Talbot with some big threes. Munro. Whittle's calling for it, but instead Munro goes against the double team, and Melbourne takes the rebound. And using that signature pace to get it across to Pizzi. A great basket there from the Caps to get things started.
Plays of the week, there's my nominee.
We've had a few in this game. There's been some really good display of basketball. Especially from Marina Whittle, who can't hit that from the corner. It allows Kalea to have a go at the basket here, but stops and props instead. Pizzi. Melbourne. Puts it up herself, but that one just can't quite make the distance.
You'd love to see the ball continue to move there. That was the first side that the ball got entered. So defense is all loaded, and they've covered all of that space in the keyway, which is what forced Melbourne to shoot that three-point shot from really deep. The best shots live on the weak side of the floor.
Just quietly, we are still on triple-double watch for Melbourne. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. So she's very close. And she might get the ball back here instead. The pass is wayward. Whittle gets it to Simons, who goes to Mansfield, back to Simons. That is great little circus tricks there from the Adelaide Lightning.
Can I nominate another player of the week?
Go
My goodness.
for it.
But both of these teams, they've got thieves in both of them. The police are waiting outside after the game.
Some really great tricks on display from both teams. Melbourne.
And steals from one another.
Absolutely. Melbourne drives in hard and gets herself another bucket for the game. 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 10 points for Jade Melbourne. That is a double-double for the Canberra young gun. Our second of the season. We saw Kayla George raise the baton earlier on for the Melbourne Boomers, and now Melbourne just showing us what she's made of. And a good block there from her teammates to disrupt Adelaide in offense.
And I think that's what I meant a lot about her growth as an athlete. So she's got the ability to score, but she'll pick the moments when she needs to try to lead. And, that comes with great, huge baskets that she makes. And then other times when the ball will rim out, she's still very young within her career, but she generally makes the right basketball play. So, where you've got 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, she contributes in every facet, and she's a real born winner.
And that's just from 31 minutes at game time too. She's absolutely dominating. This timeout is brought to you by Aussie Hoops. Aussie Hoops has been setting the basketball foundations for kids aged 5 to 10 for some time now. Whether your kids are basketball fans or simply looking to be a part of a team, register them at Aussie Hoops to kickstart their basketball journey. Do you reckon that's where Jade Melbourne started? And look at her now. So that's what you could be if you're watching at home. A really good triple-double from her.
And a great role model on and off the floor, Jade Melbourne.
Absolutely right. But the Lightning, they'll be the ones that are happy right now, Mark. They are leading this game 62-53. It's been on the back of some great work from Marina Whittle. She's up to a double-double herself now, so we can't discredit the work from her because it's been quite immense. They're going to have to work out a way to stop Jade Melbourne from getting into the game because the Caps are still right in this one.
Yeah, and I think this was a momentum timeout from Coach Nat Hurst to be able to try and stem the tide, not allow the Capitals to get on a little bit of a run and get within striking distance. I think they want to re-establish the Adelaide Lightning a way to get Marina Whittle in scoring positions at the hoop or going to the hoop. So her past 2 shots have been missed threes. It looks like she's looking for that one. I'd love to see her go to the basket on her next touch.
Good bucket there from Brooke. Adelaide's lead extends. Melbourne feeling it tonight and gets herself up to 14 points to go with 10 rebounds and 10 assists. She's putting on a show tonight. Just needs to take her team along for the ride. Down at the moment, Mansfield putting up a big 3 and Melbourne's there again. Gets it out to her teammate in Munga and now gets it back. Driving in hard against 2 Adelaide defenders and draws a foul.
So if you clipped that offense alone or that whole possession from the Caps, it looks like it belongs in the first quarter of the game. So where Adelaide perhaps is out of sync and doesn't do a fantastic job in that position, that last possession of executing, shot selection's an issue, which makes it hard to rebound. The Caps come out, with a rebound and an outlet pass. The ball flies down the floor. They do a great job of spacing, and it opens up driving lanes for Jade Melbourne to, be the jet that she is.
Another subplot in this game, you can see Nicole Munga in the corner of your screen with 4 fouls. She's out there on the floor, so Kristen Dior electing to take a bit of a risk and keep her out there to give her team the best chance of winning this game as Jade Melbourne puts both those free throws in the hoop.
I think you have to. Players like her can help you win, and she can be smart enough to try and protect herself from foul trouble, but too often as coaches we foul our own player out and pull them out of the game when they can be impactful.
Mansfield, speaking of impactful, she drives in hard and gets the bucket to go. Big bucket once again from Lauren Mansfield. She just steps up in clutch moments. Kalea wanted to dump it, instead gave it to Munga. Goes behind the back and Whittle just says, "Thank you, I'll take that." Off she goes, running down the court. Marina Whittle takes it all the way to the hoop.
Perfect, and exactly what I asked for from Whittle. The Caps have got some answers to try to find. Oh,
there's an answer there.
Some answers to try to find on the defensive end. Every time Whittle has put the ball to the floor and gone to the rim, she's been able to get all the way to a layup attempt in most cases. So, keep going to the well with that until you can't.
Whittle's free at the moment. Munro gets to her. Whittle once again makes it rain. Marina Whittle shooting the house down. Melbourne doing the same, getting it out to Pizzi. And Melbourne again in the action, this time with a rebound. Kalea, a long 3. That is massive from Cherie Kalea, showing all types of poise.
A massive shot, and that's a testament, not in the moment of her ability to shoot. She's a great shooter for a young athlete, but the faith that Coach Kristen Veal has had in her bench and her young athletes over the course of the season, then you've got players like Cherie Kalea who can come in and make big baskets like that when you need them late in the season.
So too can Jacinta Munro. It's raining buckets here at the National Convention Centre. We've ticked just below the halfway mark of this 4th term. 73 Adelaide, 62 Caps. This game going right down to the wire again. Melbourne, triple-double for her tonight. Just loses it momentarily. Munga just pops up a little floater and that works.
She's been really efficient. She doesn't take a whole lot of shots, but makes the ones that she takes. As elementary as that sounds.
She's doing the basics really well. Simons. Munro. To Brooke, who drives in herself and will head to the line for a couple. Good to see Chelsea Brook back. She missed Thursday night with some back soreness, but she's in the game tonight.
She can be a real scoring threat too. Like, we know her within the competition as being a catch and shoot three-point shooter or a pick and pop three-point shooter. There's been a number of games that I've watched this season where she's able to anticipate that closeout and then go off the dribble. In that instance there, she was going for a dribble handoff and there was an overplay, so there was a denial. The player that was the intended recipient of that handoff was being denied, and then she was able to turn the corner all the way to the rim.
Unfortunately misses that free throw, but Nat Hurst will be hopefully quite impressed with what her team's been able to produce. Without Steph Talbot and without Izzy Borlase as well, who's out this game, also with back soreness. So,
and what a season she's had.
Exactly right. An incredible season from Izzy Borlase. Fortunately, sitting on the sidelines this game. Swain back in the action. So both Munger and Swain on the floor with 4 fouls. Munger can't keep it in. So Kristen Veal putting it all out there to try and get her team the win and stop that woman on screen. Marina Whittle, 27 points, a career high. She got a career high 23 points on Thursday night and now has elevated herself again. So she's had a couple of amazing games for her team.
I think we'll see her score some more before the game's out.
Absolutely. She wants that 30-piece. Mansfield dumps it to Munro. It's nice stuff, but it just bounced off the backboard there. Burrell, Melbourne calling for it, gets it, goes for it, just can't score it. Whittle. Bounce past the Cabillo. Simons. Guarded by Melbourne, gets it to Mansfield. Oh, another nice pass to Munro, and again, she just can't finish off. Must be some oil on the rims at the National Convention Centre there. There's been a few shots like that that just rimmed out.
Got to take the lid off the rim.
Exactly right. The Glad wrap or whatever they put on there. Still, it's a great shooting display from both teams.
But the last two Adelaide Lightning possessions, exact examples of why it's Old Faithful to have the ball in Lauren Mansfield's hands in a pick and roll, makes good decisions, incredible passer of the basketball, put the ball on time and on target to Munro to be able to get 2 layup attempts. They're the types of shots that you want to create, right? They just didn't drop in these instances.
Melbourne driving hard on the left, can't bake it in, but heads to the line for a couple. And Jade Melbourne, she's not only having a double-double, but having a real big impact, a triple-double, sorry, in that statistical category. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists. We've still got 3 minutes left. Who knows what she could end up with. She'd want the win, though. Most importantly, she'd want the win. That's why these free throws are really crucial for her. She's able to connect the first one.
And her pace puts her in positions to be fouled because you've got to rush to try and get in the road, and inevitably you find her body, and she wants to seek your body. She wants contact because the way that you want to defend her is to keep your feet and body away, force her to have to deal with your length, especially if you're Munro in that switch on the pick and roll, or force her to have to shoot the ball over you because you know how dangerous she can be off the bounce.
Burrell gets it to Pizzi, and now Swain poops up a tough 2, and Whittle once again comes up with it. Carrying this Adelaide team on her back in the absence of Steph Talbot and Izzy Borlase. This team showing some true character, have not won on the road this season, so they're desperate to avail that record. Mansfield. Bounce pass again, looking for Munro, but this time Canberra comes up with it, and Melbourne dishes it off to Burrell. This would be big. Instead, it rims out. And now Adelaide can just slow things down. 2 minutes 10 to go. 74-65 is their lead.
And there'll be 2 clear speeds that both of these teams want to play. If you're Adelaide, you want to shorten the game with less possessions. So milk a lot of the shot clock as best you can. Put yourself in positions to be fouled like that. Or in worst case, look, the ball spills out of bounds, but now Canberra has to inbound it. If you're Adelaide, you can get your defense back and set. Everybody's between their player and the basket. If you're the Capitals, you want to go like a rat up a drain pipe. You want to create more possessions, lengthen the game, and give yourself more chances to be able to make up this deficit.
So an offensive foul call there And it prompts a timeout, 74-65, Lightning lead. You can see top scorers there, Jade Melbourne, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists. Britt Smart with 14. Marita Whittle setting the house on fire with 27 points, 10 from 14 from the field to go with 12 rebounds as well. Lauren Mansfield, the next best for Adelaide with 13 points. Do you back them from here, Mark? The Lightning, they've really pushed hard after that disappointing first term.
I think so. You know, look, it's a 16-14 quarter in favour of the Caps. They haven't been able to pull away enough to just eat up this deficit. You know, 9 points, it's not out of the question, but certainly, you know, when the ball's going to be back in the possession of the Adelaide Lightning, if they're not in any sort of a rush, so if a wide open layup doesn't present, it serves you well to get into late clock situations, limit the amount of possessions left in the ball game, and then late, you're going to put the Caps in position where they're going to have to foul you and put you on the line to try and get the ball back. So if you can hit some of your free throws, you can really ice the game. You know, Adelaide in this one, they're 11 of 20 from the free throw line. So if we get into those stages, they're going to be called upon to hit ones to be able to put the game out of reach for the Caps.
So a minute 52, it is absolutely go time for Canberra. Nicole Munger with the ball in her hand. Jade Melbourne, that's who you want to be taking it down the floor. And you can see that pace straight away. Canberra going hard to the rim, and Burrell obliges. This time can't bank it in. Whittle to Cabillo. She thinks about going fast and then switches her pace back and forth. Gets it back from Munro. And then Whittle plays a bit of 1-2 as well. Good look into Munro. Great basketball from the Lightning.
You probably need more urgency on the defensive end if you're the Caps.
That's good on the offensive end though. Pizzi converting.
And this is what we're looking for here. Try and speed the Lightning up.
Oh, and that's found Simons wide open. A great look-ahead pass from Whittle. She's doing it all tonight.
Now, unfortunately, that's the tax that you have to pay for trying to put a whole lot of pressure on the ball. So you hope that you can turn them over on, you know, the forthcoming possessions.
Melbourne finds a lane. It's hot basketball right now. But the Lightning can still hold the ascendancy. 78-69. 57 seconds left in the game. The Lightning can just about taste it. Steph Talbot watching on from the bench. Injured in that third term. Ice around her knee. Izzy Ball lays out. Adelaide yet to win on the road this season. This would be a big win. Whittle looking for a 30-piece. Couldn't get it on that occasion. Burrell. Still looking for that basket, Canberra. They're not giving up. Swain. Whittle again. So trustworthy tonight. Cabillo just slows it down. 25 seconds left in the ball game. Swain comes to her now. Cabillo gets going. Dumps it into Munro. Spitting, shooting and not scoring. Canberra ball. So 10 seconds left. The game is with Adelaide. It'll be quite a momentous win for the Lightning. As you mentioned, Mark, both teams just simply playing for pride, but it'll mean a lot with some other factors surrounding them as well. Burrell gets a little consolation prize. But it's the Lightning who will walk away from this game as victors. They finally get that much-needed road win. They end a 0-7 road streak, believe it or not. They win their first game since Jan 5, and most importantly, get their 5th victory of the season. And what a special round. You can see Abby Cabillo getting embraced. WNBL Indigenous round, an important win for Adelaide. At full time, it was a Lightning 78, Capitals 72.
And a huge win for the Lightning. So to be able to string together a second win in a row, you know, if you're watching this game qualitatively and you knew nothing else around the ladder positions, you would think that these teams were playing for a finals berth. And that's what you want to see. So both programs can hold their head high. They've put on a fantastic performance, been able to show a resolve, to be able to, you know, overcome some hurdles, try and gain ascendancy back, continue fighting till the final buzzer. Everything that you'd want to see from both programs, they delivered tonight.
We're going to take a look at some of the match stats of the game. As you can see, the final score 78-72. Field goal percentage was Adelaide 44-39, leading that one. 29-28. Both teams marginally improved their three-point percentage as the game went on. 46-40 in rebounds, equal on assists, and Jane Melbourne had 14 of those Canberra assists, so a big outing from her. And then points in the paint, 34-40. So pretty close in the stats, and it was a pretty close game in the end there, Mark.
It really was, and you know, you look at a lot of those statistical measures and they're very, very even or equal. The game comes down to 6 points, so essentially 2 baskets, 2 three-point shots. But for me, you know, I keep going back to that resilience piece. That's what you want to see from your team from a habit standpoint that builds your program's chances to be competitive against the best teams in the competition. Now, both of these teams are out of finals contention, but they were hungry tonight. They competed. They were able to pick themselves off the mat when the other team gained a whole lot of ascendancy, and then try and re-establish their own identity on the game. Both coaches can be proud of their troops for tonight's outing, and what a game by Marina Whittle. Wow.
Exactly right. Marina Whittle, 27 points for the night, 10 from 15 from the field to go with 14 rebounds and 4 assists and 3 steals as well, I might add too. So a great performance from her to lead Adelaide to an important win. But then on the opposite side, Jade Melbourne, 19 points, 12 rebounds and 14 assists. Well, we've got a big game to come right after this. Stay right where you are, because Townsville are going toe-to-toe with Bendigo, hoping to make it 9 wins in a row. KG23 is back, Amy Rochi in comms as well. And then tomorrow, another big clash as Southside takes on Perth before Sydney faces Melbourne at the Key Centre. So a big slate of games to come in round 14 of the Cygnett WNBL Indigenous round. What a great occasion it is. We thank you for your company on 9 Now tonight. We hope you enjoyed the coverage. Myself, Mark Elabakov, and our wonderful production team are signing off from the National Convention Centre, where it was Adelaide winning by 6 points over Canberra on Ngunnawal country. Keep it on 9 Now, because up next it's Townsville versus Bendigo. We'll see you very soon.